This week on MCrider, let's talk about parking your motorcycle, where you should park and how you should park in order to keep your motorcycle safe and easy to access whenever you get ready to get back on it. Parking a motorcycle is not something that many riders consider until they start riding a motorcycle, and they realize that there's some differences between parking a motorcycle and parking your car, and it may give you some more options on where you park also. The slope of the parking spot is one of your first considerations when you're pulling into a parking spot. When you enter that parking space and the back of the parking space is higher than the front, you'll most likely want to pull in with your front tire first. That way, whenever you get ready to back out, you can allow gravity to back the motorcycle out for you. However, if that spot is even slightly angled downhill and you park front tire first, you may have some trouble backing that motorcycle out of that spot, unless you've got a gold wing that has reverse on it, but it can be tough to move a heavy motorcycle, even if that incline is not really steep. The goal here is to park in a manner that allows either the gravity and the weight of the motorcycle to help you get backed out, or the power of the motorcycle, so if you back into a spot, you can use the power of the motorcycle to pull out. If you park in the wrong direction, you may find yourself having to struggle to get the bike out of a spot or finding other creative means to exit the parking spot. Now, another thing to consider if the lot is slanted left or right. So if there's a slant left or right to the parking spot, either way is going to require some consideration on your part, and a lot of it's going to depend on your motorcycle and in particular the kickstand, or how far your motorcycle leans over when it's on that side stand. So if the lot's higher on the kickstand side and you have a longer kickstand on your motorcycle, it might leave the motorcycle in almost a vertical position when it's parked. My BMW GS had a really long kickstand on it, so the motorcycle didn't lean far to the kickstand side when it was parked. If the parking lot was angled this way, it made it kind of tenuous to get on and off the motorcycle because it didn't lean very far onto the kickstand when it was parked. And this is not good to leave your motorcycle like this, because a strong wind or a bump from a pedestrian walking by could possibly leave you having to pick up your motorcycle when you return. And if that lot slants the other way, so if it's slanted this way and your kickstand goes here, if you've got a shorter kickstand, a lot of Harleys lean way over on that kickstand. If it's going to the low side, man, it may require a lot of muscle to get that motorcycle back upright and off of that kickstand. So all of those things need to be considered. The slope of the lot, the kickstand on your motorcycle are just some of the things that you'll need to consider when determining which parking spot to pull into, or even passing up on that particular spot to find a more level surface to park on. In addition to the slope of the parking spot, a rider has to consider that their motorcycle is not as visible as a car. So when you're parking in a crowded parking lot, it can easily get lost in other cars in the parking lot. If the rider pulls all the way to the back of the parking space, they risk an inattentive driver just pulling into that spot and hitting their motorcycle if they think it's open and they pull in without looking clearly. And likewise, if they park too far to the front of that spot, they're more likely to get hit by cars backing out of that parking spot or pulling in, to the spot next to them. My general strategy is to park slightly in front of the center. So if you go to the center of the parking lot and you bring it out a little closer to the road or the driveway, then that's generally where I park at. That way my motorcycle is most visible to cars coming up, and it's less likely to get hit by a car backing out or pulling into a parking spot. Parking on less than ideal surfaces can also be a challenge. Gravel, if it's hardly packed, is usually fine, but if there's loose soil or even on really hot days, the kickstand can sink down into hot asphalt and cause problems. So here are a couple of shots from a road trip I took on my old Honda Valkyrie a few years ago. When I was at the campsite, I parked on gravel, and I had no issues the entire time. As you can see, I used a side stand puck to keep the kickstand from driving into the gravel. Now, it would have been safe regardless, but I used that puck in case I got rain during the night because I didn't want that motorcycle falling over in the middle of the night. But if you don't have a side stand puck available, I've used a flat rock or any other object that's flat and wide that you can get under the side stand. It's just going to keep it from sinking further down into the soil. However, on this same trip, I had a really close drop when I was shooting this scene in New Mexico. It was really hot when I was here, and the asphalt that you can see that's under the motorcycle was really soft. So I pulled over on the side of this embankment that you can't really see the embankment from the shot, but the motorcycle's sitting fairly close to a drop off of about 20 feet. And I shot this clip and I walked around a bit looking at the area. Whenever I returned to the motorcycle, it was really leaning over on the side stand, and it was perhaps inches from falling over, and it may have even slid down the embankment some had it fallen over in that direction. Since I was in that area by myself, it would have been a real challenge getting that motorcycle back upright and back on the road by myself, because I would have been trying to lift that heavy Valkyrie on that side of a hill, and it probably would have been a real pleasant experience. So it did make for a pretty photo, but I got lucky this day, and from now on I check that pavement under the kickstand. This was one of the best kind of lessons to learn because it didn't cost me any paint or skin to learn it. I just learned the lesson, and it made me a better rider because of it. So this last topic might be a bit controversial. Is it okay to park on a curb or near a bike rack or other out-of-the-way area at a store or place of business, or should a motorcycle always park in a designated parking spot? So first, let me lead this discussion off with this. If where you park your motorcycle interferes with others, if it impedes others from entering or exiting the store, if it interferes with them being able to walk down the sidewalk, or interferes with the handicap spaces in any way, it's wrong, and you shouldn't park there, and you could likely be ticketed for parking there. But many stores have wide open areas where one could park a motorcycle and it would have zero impact on other people, on people getting in and out of the stores or cart returns for that matter. Plus, it would save a parking space for a car or truck out in the lot. Now, I've parked in these situations numerous times, and I've never been given a ticket as a result. And to be honest, I'm not sure of the legality of it, and there are some situations where an officer might ticket a rider, but I've never seen it happen, and I've never gotten a ticket for it. But, I have limited experience in doing this in comparison to the, riders as a whole. But in my opinion, as long as a rider is courteous and conscientious of others around them, it's one of those no harm, no foul kind of situations, but you may very well get ticketed, and you would have no case to argue against that ticket if you're parking in a non-designated spot. So use your own judgment, use your own wisdom in those situations. But what do you think? What are your tips for parking a motorcycle? Do you park only in designated parking spaces, or are you a rebel like me and you take advantage of being able to tuck your motorcycle in some unused space near the store that's out of the way and not inconveniencing someone else? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject, so leave a comment below. And until next week, guys, is Kev with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road.